Before kings wore crowns forged in glory, before thrones were built upon righteousness and fear, there was a man who looked upon the land and said, "Why should another sit above me?" His name was Abimelech, and his story is not a story of triumph. It is not a story of divine election, of prophets weeping for joy, of the heavens opening wide, and the voice of the Almighty thundering approval. No. His story is something far darker, far more familiar, far more terrifying. Because Abimelech did not rise by the hand of God. He rose by the hand of man, by the hand of ambition, by the hand of blood. And in doing so, he became a mirror held up before every generation that would come after him, asking the same unbearable question. What happens when a man seizes what was never given to him? This is the story of Abimelech, the man who became king, the man who murdered his brothers, the man whose crown was bought with 70 pieces of silver and paid for in 70 lives. Stay with me, because before this story ends, a woman with a millstone will have the final word. If the ancient scriptures stir something deep within you, if you find yourself drawn to the thundering voices of judges and kings, to the raw, unfiltered drama of men and women who walked in a world both brutal and sacred, then this channel was made for you. Every week, we open the pages of Scripture and breathe life into the stories that have shaped humanity for thousands of years. Not sanitized, not shallow, but told with the weight they deserve, with reverence for the text and wonder for the God who stands behind it. Subscribe now and ring the bell, so that when the next voice rises from the ancient dust, you will be the first to hear it. The story continues. Don't miss a single word. To understand Abimelech, you must first understand his father, Gideon, the great deliverer of Israel, the man who threshed wheat in secret for fear of the Midianites, and whom God called mighty warrior, the man who tore down the altar of Baal, the man who led 300 soldiers with torches and clay pots and shattered the armies of the east like pottery against stone. Gideon was chosen. Gideon was used. Gideon was mighty. And yet, Gideon was not without fault. For in the years of his victory, in the long autumn of his judge's reign, Gideon accumulated wives. Many wives. 70 sons born of those wives, 70. As though the number itself were a testament to his greatness. But there was one more, a concubine in Shechem, a woman whose name the scripture does not record, as though history itself could not decide whether to remember her or forget her. And this woman bore Gideon a son. He was given the name Abimelech, which means, in the tongue of his people, my father is king. From his very first breath, the name on this child's lips was sovereignty, was power, was kingship. And perhaps, in the way that names sometimes become prophecies, that was his first undoing. Because Gideon was not a king. When the men of Israel came to him after the victory and said, rule over us, you and your son and your son's son." Gideon refused. He stood before them and declared with his own lips, "I will not rule over you. The Lord shall rule over you." A noble answer, a righteous answer. And yet, Gideon asked them for the gold earrings of their enemies, and they brought them joyfully, freely. And he made from that golden ephod a sacred garment, and he placed it in his city, Ophrah. And all Israel played the harlot after it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and to his house. So even in his righteousness there was compromise. Even in his refusal of the crown, there was the collection of its symbols. And when Gideon died, when the great deliverer breathed his last and was gathered to his fathers, the children of Israel turned again and played the harlot after the Baals. And they remembered not the Lord their God, nor did they show kindness to the house of Gideon. Into this world of forgotten loyalty and abandoned covenant, Abimelech was left, the son of the concubine, half blood, half welcome.
Shechem. It was here that Abimelech made his move. Shechem was ancient even then, a city of memory and covenant, a place where Abraham had first built an altar, where Jacob had bought land, where the bones of Joseph would one day be laid to rest. But to Abimelech, Shechem was something else. It was leverage, for his mother was a daughter of Shechem. Her brothers, his uncles, still lived there. And the men of Shechem were men of influence, men of gates and councils and silver. Abimelech went to his mother's brothers. He stood before them, this ambitious, restless, half-welcome son of a great man. And he spoke. "Speak, I pray you, in the ears of all the men of Shechem," he said. "Whether is better for you, that all the sons of Gideon, which are 70 persons, reign over you, or that one reign over you?" And then the killing words. "Remember also that I am your bone and your flesh. I am yours. You are mine. Why should strangers sit above you when one of your own blood could sit above them all?" It was not a speech of vision. It was not a speech of wisdom or righteousness or divine calling. It was a speech of tribal loyalty, of fear, of the oldest political currency in the world. Us against them. And the men of Shechem listened. And the men of Shechem were inclined. Their hearts turned toward Abimelech, for they said, "He is our brother." And so they gave him 70 pieces of silver, taken from the house of Baal-berith, from the very temple of the Lord of the covenant, though this was no covenant of the God of Israel. This was blood money sanctified by a false god. This was the price of a kingdom built on sand, with 70 pieces of silver. One coin, perhaps, for every brother he intended to kill. Abimelech hired worthless and reckless men, and they followed him. And he went to his father's house at Ophrah, and he killed his brothers, the sons of Gideon, 70 persons, upon one stone, upon one stone. The scripture does not elaborate, it does not dramatize. It simply states the fact with the flat, terrible plainness of a gravestone. 70 men, one stone, one by one. 70 sons of a deliverer who had delivered no one. 70 inheritors of a judge's legacy, judged and found guilty of nothing but being born. Their only crime was blood, the wrong father's blood. And Abimelech, the son of the concubine, the man whose name meant my father is king, he erased them, every last one, or so he thought. For the youngest son of Gideon, a young man named Jotham, hid himself, and he escaped. Jotham would not forget. Jotham would not be silent, but we will come to him, because first, the men of Shechem made Abimelech king. When Jotham heard, when word reached the youngest son of Gideon that his brothers were dead upon the stone, that a man of ambition and silver now sat crowned in Shechem, he climbed to the top of Mount Gerizim, and he lifted his voice, and he cried out, and he told a parable. Listen to me, you men of Shechem. Listen, and God will listen to you. The trees, he said, went out to anoint a king over them. They went first to the olive tree. Reign over us, they said. But the olive tree refused. Should I leave my fatness, it answered, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? And so they went to the fig tree. Come, you, and reign over us. The trees, he said, went out to anoint a king over them. They went first to the olive tree. Reign over us, they said. But the olive tree refused. Should I leave my fatness, it answered, wherewith by me they honor God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? And so they went to the fig tree. Come, you, and reign over us. But the fig tree also refused. Should I forsake my sweetness and my good fruit, and go to be promoted over the trees? Then they asked the vine, come, you, and reign over us. And the vine said, should I leave my wine which cheereth God and man, and go to be promoted over the trees? 3 refusals, 3 noble things, olive, fig, vine, each rooted too deeply in its own good purpose. To grasp its power it was not made to hold. And then the trees turned to the bramble, the thorn bush, the thing that catches clothes and tears skin, and offers no fruit and casts no shade. Come, you, and reign over us. And the bramble answered, oh, how the bramble answered. If in truth you anoint me king over you, then come and put your trust in my shadow. And if not, let fire come out of the bramble and devour the cedars of Lebanon. Even in accepting the crown, the bramble threatened. Even in receiving what it asked for, it warned of destruction. For that is the nature of the bramble. It cannot give shade. It can only offer shadow, and shadow is not the same thing. Jotham finished his parable. He looked down at the men of Shechem below, and he said, if you have acted truthfully and sincerely with Gideon and his house this day, then rejoice in Abimelech, and let him rejoice in you. But if not,
and devour Abimelech. When Jotham ran, he fled to Beer and dwelt there, for fear of Abimelech his brother. The curse was spoken, the prophecy was sealed, and all that remained was time.
"3 years. Abimelech reigned 3 years over Israel. 3 years of the bramble casting its false shadow. 3 years of a kingdom built on silver and stone. And then God sent an evil spirit between Abimelech and the men of Shechem. Notice what the scripture says. Not that chaos arose by accident. Not that politics simply unraveled as they tend to do. God sent. Even in the disobedience, even in the bloodshed, even in the years of a reign that was never ordained, God was not absent. He was watching. He was counting. He was waiting for the appointed moment when the ledger would be balanced, and the treachery done to the 70 sons of Gideon would return upon the heads of those who had done it. The men of Shechem began to deal treacherously with Abimelech. They robbed travelers who passed through the valley. They plotted in the shadows. A man named Gaal came to Shechem, son of Ebed, and the men of Shechem put their confidence in him. They ate and drank and cursed Abimelech. "Who is Abimelech?" Gaal said. "And who is Shechem, that we should serve him?" The alliance of blood and silver, it was cracking. The bramble, when it cannot rain, releases fire. Zebul, the ruler of the city, a man loyal to Abimelech, sent word in secret. And Abimelech rose by night. He divided his people into 4 companies. He came against the gates of the city in the morning light. Gaal saw the men and thought they were shadows on the mountains. Zebul said, "You see the shadow of the mountains as if they were men." But they were men. Gaal was driven out. Shechem was taken. Abimelech fought against the city all that day. He took it. He killed the people therein. He beat down the city. He sowed it with salt. Salt. The ancient sign of desolation. The mark of a place so cursed it should never grow again. But the tower of Shechem still stood. And all the men and women of the tower of Shechem gathered there, about 1,000 souls. And they shut themselves in and went to the hold of the house of their god El-Berith. And Abimelech came to the mountain of Zalman. He took an axe in his hand. He cut down a bough from the trees. He lifted it upon his shoulder, and he said to the people with him, "What you have seen me do, make haste and do as I have done." And every man cut down his bough, and they followed Abimelech. And they laid the branches against the hold, and they set the hold on fire. And all the people of the tower of Shechem died, about 1,000 men and women. The bramble had released its fire. The curse of Jotham was fulfilling itself, but it was not finished. Then Abimelech went to Thebez, a new city, a new campaign, the machine of conquest still turning. He came against Thebez and encamped against it and took it. But there was a strong tower within the city. and all the men and women of the city fled there. They shut themselves in. They went up to the top of the tower, and Abimelech came near to the door of the tower to burn it with fire. He had done it before. He knew how this ended. He lifted his torch, and a certain woman, a woman the scripture does not name, a woman whose name history did not record, because God did not need her name to make her eternal. A certain woman cast a piece of a millstone upon the head of Abimelech and broke his skull. Abimelech, the king who was never meant to be king, Abimelech, who bought his crown with 70 pieces of silver, Abimelech, who killed his brothers upon one stone, was brought low by a stone, carried by a woman, dropped from a tower. He fell, and in his falling he knew, perhaps for the first time, the shape of what he had done. He called quickly to his armor-bearer. He said, "Draw your sword and thrust me through, lest men say of me, 'A woman slew him.'" Even in his dying, it was about image. Even in the shadow of death, it was about the story others would tell. His armor-bearer thrust him through, and Abimelech died. And when the men of Israel saw that Abimelech was dead, they departed, every man to his place. Thus God repaid the wickedness of Abimelech, which he did unto his father, in slaying his 70 brethren. And all the evil of the men of Shechem did God render upon their heads, and upon them came the curse of Jotham, the son of Gideon. There are men in every age who look upon power and say, "Why not me?" Who count their grievances and find in them a justification. Who look at what others have built and see in it only a throne not yet claimed. Abimelech was not unique. He was not an aberration. He was a pattern. The bramble that offers shade but gives only shadow. The leader who rules by fear rather than by calling. The man who silences the voices of others because he cannot bear to hear an answer to the question, were you chosen? Or did you simply choose yourself? But hear this, and hear it well. The story of Abimelech is in the scripture not to glorify him, but to warn us, to show us what a kingdom built on blood looks like from the inside, to remind us that thrones seized without divine appointment become their own prisons, and to remind us that God sees, that the blood of 70 men crying out from one stone, he hears it, that the curse of one man standing alone on a mountain, he honors it, that the arm of a nameless woman lifting a millstone in a tower, he directs it. The bramble burned, and the bramble was consumed in its own fire. And somewhere, in the fields outside the Bez, in the salt-sown ruins of Shechem, in the memory of a stone in Ophrah, 70 voices rested. Justice had spoken, not with a sword from heaven, not with an angel descending in light, but with a stone dropped by a woman whose name we do not know, but whose arm God held. If this story moved you, if you felt the weight of those ancient words pressing against your chest, then you already know why these stories matter. Because they are not just history. They are mirrors. They are warnings. They are invitations to ask ourselves the hard questions. About power, about calling, about the difference between grasping and receiving. If you want more, if you want to walk deeper into the world of judges and kings, of prophets and warriors, of women who dropped millstones and men who heard the voice of God in the wind, subscribe right now before you leave this page. And while you're here, this video right here will take you deeper into the world of the judges. And this one will show you what Gideon's story tells us about the man his son could have been. The ancient story is still speaking. Are you still listening?